Hi, I'm Carina Leeson, family law attorney at the Kendrick Law Group, and thank you for joining us. Today with me, I have a dear friend and colleague. She is Anne Marie Bowen. She has her own law firm, and she is a bankruptcy attorney. Anne Marie, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Karina. I really am glad to be here with you today.
So there's so many things going on right now with the pandemic, and some of my clients soon to be former spouses involved in the divorce process are losing jobs or have diminished earning capacity during this time. As a bankruptcy attorney, are you seeing a rise or an increase in individuals that are having to come consult with you?
You froze up just a little bit. I think you're asking me if I'm seeing more cases now, or what? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes. So what we're seeing right now is actually, I feel like it's a little bit of the calm before the storm, because a lot of people are getting unemployment checks now, and they're making more money being on furloughed on the unemployment than when they were working before, because that adding that extra federal $600 a week is really helping people. I think what's going to happen is that in about 6 months or so, the money's going to run out, the bills are still there, and people are still going to be in trouble. So I think we're at the calm before the storm. That's really what I think. I think we are going to get very busy, but that's where we're at right now.
Walk us through, if you could, the different types of individual bankruptcy that are available to people.
Okay, so briefly, there's four different types of bankruptcy, but Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 are the usual types that apply to most individual people. So that would be a husband, a wife, or husband and wife together or separate. Um, there's also Chapter 11 and 12. Chapter 11 is usually a corporation trying to stay in business, some individuals. And Chapter 12, family, farmers, and fishermen. We don't have too many of those in Central Florida. But the Chapter 7 is a liquidation where you try to just erase most all of your debt, walk away, and start over. Chapter 13, you try to basically consolidate your bills together and then make one payment a month for the next 3 to 5 years and pay what you can afford to pay. So those are kind of differences, and really what's right for the individual person depends on their specific circumstances.
Now, oftentimes I'll have a consultation, and the person I'm speaking with said, they come in and they're really debt heavy. They've got very little in assets, very little in liquid assets, and they've got a bunch of credit cards, they've got a mortgage, they've got car loans, and the debt seems insurmountable. They are considering filing for bankruptcy. Talk a little bit about the timing of when people should file bankruptcy, because there are implications if you're in the middle of a pending divorce already.
Right, exactly. So it's really interesting to me how um, timing is really interesting, because sometimes it's best to file before the divorce goes through, and sometimes it's better to wait and file after, or to file during bankruptcy but not to file together. So a good example of a time when it would be good to still be married, not have that divorce finalized. They can be separate, they can live separately, they can be going through the divorce process, but just not actually have the divorce pending, is maybe somebody that owns two homes. Because if the homes are owned jointly, husband and wife, and they're still legally married, if only one spouse files bankruptcy, there's a possibility that you could exempt all the equity in that second home, vacation home, rental home, whatever it is, investment property, that you might be able to shield it and protect it. And then when the divorce goes through, you've got more assets available for the family in the future. So that would be a good example of maybe you want to file bankruptcy before the divorce goes through. But sometimes you want to, if you wait to file after, if someone is receiving alimony or child support, that's going to count as income, which may mean you don't qualify now for this type of the Chapter 7 where you can be in and out in about 6 months. You're going to have to do a Chapter 13 and be in it for like 5 years. So timing's really important. It's critical. So I would advise people that when they're going through the divorce, if they have the financial problems, they really might want to reach out to a bankruptcy attorney just to get information, maybe to discover their options. because sometimes bankruptcy is really just not right for a person at all. I mean, sometimes maybe there's another way out. We can do settlements with the creditors to negotiate, especially if there's maybe the couple has a lump sum of money, not enough to pay everybody, but we could negotiate out and pay off half the debt and wipe out the other half and have the creditor agree to that. So there's different options to look at as well. So I would say to people, don't be afraid to explore your options, and you do have options.
That's a great tip to point out, because I think sometimes people may be philosophically opposed to the idea or the concept of filing for bankruptcy,
Hmm.
but it is important and critical for folks to know what their options are. So find out early on, get informed, and explore all those different options. Uh, Something else I wanted to chat with you about before we chime off, and that is, what should people be prioritizing if they don't have enough money to pay all of their previously existing or currently existing obligations? In other words, car payments, credit card payments, mortgages. Is there a hierarchy of debt that they should be prioritizing if they can't pay it all?
That's a great question, Karina. Absolutely. It's really important when people are struggling financially, pay not necessarily the squeaky wheel. So just because, Visa or MasterCard is calling you every day, they are not more important than the mortgage or your car payment. What's important is, what's the most important thing to you to keep? If your house is upside down by $50,000 and you miss a mortgage payment, maybe it's not so bad. But if you need that car to drive to get to the doctor, to get your kids to school whenever school starts again, to get to work, then you really want to make sure you make those car payments. You don't want to get behind in your car payment and have your car repossessed. So
Right.
there is a hierarchy, and it's, what is the most important thing? The most important thing is never a credit card. I'll just tell you that right now. It's never a credit card. Okay. The most important thing is probably the roof over your head and the car in the driveway. Not necessarily in that order, because it really depends. But it would be a good idea to get some financial counseling to find out, if you don't have enough money to make it all the way, what can you do? So those are very important considerations. The other thing is prioritizing how you're going to spend the money, but prioritizing where you're going to get the money from. It's really important when you're really struggling to not go and take money out of your 401k, your IRA, your retirement. Don't take that money out. Your creditors cannot get the money if it's sitting inside the retirement account. But if you pull it out to pay the bills, put it in the bank, put it under the mattress, your creditors can get that money. So talk to a bankruptcy professional before you do anything as far as trying to get more money from places that could be protected otherwise.
Great information, great tips, Anne Marie. Really appreciate you speaking with me today. I deal with clients going through a very difficult time of a divorce, and you certainly provide assistance to them on a financial difficulty basis. And that certainly is of great service to a lot of people, especially right now. So I do want to thank you for your time and for the work that you're doing, and
Well,
really.
thank you so much, Karina. I've been enjoyed our time getting together here today. And, I recognize that what you do right now, especially when people are so stressed with just life in general, life going on, it's difficult enough when you're in a difficult relationship. And I just really love the way you can help people to try to, make the best of a bad situation. And you really have their best interest at heart to take care of them. So I really appreciate working with you too. So thank you so much, Karina.
Thanks, Anne Marie. Anne Marie, what is the best way for folks to get in touch with you if they need to consult with you about a bankruptcy related issue?
So, so they can call me at my office at 407-228-1300, or go to our website. We've got a lot of frequently asked questions, because people do have questions, and that's bowenbankruptcylaw.com. Bowenbankruptcylaw.com. If you want to shoot us an email, office@bowenbankruptcylaw.com.
Thanks so much, Anne Marie. This is Carina Leeson with the Kendrick Law Group. If you have any family law related questions, please email me at carina@kendricklaw.com. And that's all for today. So we'll sign off, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.